Hello, class. Today we are going to talk about surgical guidelines and general surgery and how we generally find. Hello, class. Today we are going to talk about surgical guidelines and general surgery and how we generally find our surgical code. Slide number 2, the surgical section. If you will pick up your CPT book, you will find that it is the largest section in the CPT section. Now, the section format, the code is from 10004 through 69990. It is divided by subspecialty, and that's from the cardiovascular section to the respiratory section, the digestive system, the nervous, the eye, the ear, the male genital system, the female genital system, and that's all in surgery. That's all the surgery that they will do, and that's how it's divided. So you will code from those sections. Slide 3, notes and guideline. There are general notes in the CPT book, and it's throughout the section, and the information does varies. But we must read so we can know what section and what the code, so we can code correctly. If you would turn to slide 4, the CPT manual text change. Well, if you look in the step-by-step book in figure 13.1, it reports more than one procedure service. Now we know here in the CPT book, every year that you're going to have new codes, and you're going to have codes that are revised. So basically in figure 13.1, at the bottom where you see the bow tie, it really indicating there's a new service or revised text symbol, which means that it's adding a word. It may be removing a word, or it may be adding a statement. It indicates that the text changed from previous edition. So something has been revised, or something has been added or removed. So that's very, very important while coding. We're going to move on to slide number 5. The subsection note indicates where the surgery will be the section, but the subsection will tell you what type of surgery. That's what you will look on, what part of the body that the surgery is being performed. So the surgery itself is the section, but the subsection note will be the section in where they are actually performing the service, so you'll know exactly where to code, so we can code properly. And that's found an example in figure 13.2, where it says subsection note applied to the entire subsection. Now, if you would turn to slide 6, we're going to talk a little about the subheading note, which is the atomic site, and explains real well in figure 13.3, where it says the subheading note applied to the entire subheading. And of course, it's in the CPT book, it will be the large red writing in your code book, which is the subheading. And so that gives an example here in figure 13.2 where the subheading is. And also underneath the subheading, you'll find the note of the subheading. We're going to talk a little bit about the category note. And in that gives the example here in figure 13.4 about the graphic or the implant. And then it has a note underneath it. And it's a certain order that things go in. you'll find that it's a guideline, then it's a code, then it's a guideline, then it's a code. So it's actually you're guiding yourself to what code you need to use, and therefore it's a note underneath it to make sure that you're coding correct. And if you look in the step-by-step book, you could see that in figure 13.4 as an example. Let's talk a little bit now about the subcategory note. Now in figure 13 and 5. Now the subcategory note applied to the entire subcategory. And we'll find that in figure 13.5. Now the subcategory note is you need to know the structure of the CPT surgical section. Everyone has a system to follow, and you have to follow the structure. And there's a structure with this. So if you look at figure 13 and 5, it gives the section, and then the subsection, the subheading, the category, the subcategory, and then the note. So for figure 13.5, it gives the section, which is the surgery. And the subsection is the digestive system. And then the subheading is the abdominal. So you see the structure that they have. Then the category is they're going to repair. Then they have the note underneath it. So it's an order that they go by. So it's a structure. So know the structure of the CPT surgery section. And everyone has a system to follow. So follow the system that has been implemented. Additional helpful note on slide number 9. In figure 13.6, now we find that it's coding for CPT code 42120, but you want to look at the notation underneath the code, we need to make sure that we are in the right place. Because under the CPT code with the 42120, they have to see other codes that you can follow that goes along with that code. If you're not coding 42120, you can also use the 14040 or the 14300 or the 15050 or the 15120 or 15240 or 15576. It goes along with the CPT code 42120. Let's talk a little bit about unlisted procedure codes. Now, in the CPT book, it's a big list, and it's in the green section in the CPT book guideline. Those are unlisted procedure codes. You will use only when more specified category 1 or category 3 code of not found. It's a written report that's submitted, and each unlisted code service is paid on case-by-case basis. Now, you will find some under the term unlisted, and we don't bill unless there is no category 3. Now, the doctor have to have a special report describing why he or she has utilized this service in order for them to pay, because the code is unlisted. And there are unlisted codes that you can use. And it's found in a big list is in the green section in the CPT book. I want to talk a little about on slide 11, separate procedures. Separate procedures follow code description. Okay, you will see a separate procedure a lot. And that means that the procedure is bundled in a large procedure. That means that it goes together. They're not going to pay for a separate procedure if that procedure goes on underneath a larger procedure. Make sure that the code is not bundled into a greater surgical code. Now, when you code a procedure, a separate procedure, you report when the code on the same side. They'll only pay totally different if you're coding on the right and it's a bundle with another code, and that right side is their coding, and that code goes with another code, they will only pay if the site is different or if you're coding something on the left side. But when it comes to them paying a separate code, you want to make sure that it's something that's separate. Because if it's something that's bundled and it's in a large procedure, you won't get paid for it. Separate procedures reported when only procedures performed with another procedure or a different site or unrelated to a major procedure. We're on slide 13. Let's talk a little bit now about minor procedures. Now, these procedures don't have to be bundled. Sometimes they were done in the office, in the doctor's office. Often on service-by-service base, minor procedures are often do not have bundle of service. Third-party payers decide what is in a surgical bundle. No was bundled together. Minor procedures for Medicare has 0 to 10 global period. Know your global period. Now, class, we'll find that local anesthesia and certain repairs are bundled together. That means they're going to pay one time for the anesthesia, the local anesthesia, and the repair that's being done. Most insurance, that's why a biller, a person that's billing, need to know how and what insurance and how they pay, and know the guidelines. Whether or not this third-party payer decides what is in a surgical bundle, you need to know. That is very, very important. Slide 14, third-party payers decide what is in a surgical bundle. Medicare has the correct coding initial, and most insurance companies follow that Medicare guidelines. Not all, but the majority of them do. Let's talk a little bit about major guidelines for surgical package. Major surgical procedures usually indicate preoperative, that's before, intraoperative, that means during, postoperative, that means after, also known as global period. Slide 16. Major guidelines of surgical package. One bundle, one price. Major procedure may have no bundles. It varies by payers. Now, major guideline example, slide 17, most payer has a 90-day after major surgery. That means that maternity is one of them that does that. They have a 90-day. All service related to the surgery are in a package. It includes the pre-op, intra-op, and post-op. Separate reporting abundantly. Know what's bundled with the different insurance company. You have to know the billing from the billing side. You have to know the different insurance, and they have different guidelines. So know who bundles